Hello everyone. So we just got a new envelope in the mail here today. It's from Spain. I got my fingers covering that guy's address because don't want to leak any addresses. And this might be a banknote, but it might be something else. So let's see what's inside. I didn't really like how the last video came out when I filmed it in the banknote room. So I think I'm going to try this spot instead because I think this might work pretty well too. I gotta get a pair of scissors. To the bottom, and I usually just trim the edge off. The scissors, very nice. And I don't have to do it fully, it just opens up from there. And we got the thing inside. It's in green paper, nice and protected. It's taped, so I gotta get the tape off. This might be a little difficult. Oh, just like that, came off nice and easy. Alright, that's better. Sometimes you just gotta rip the paper, The tape just doesn't want to work with you. And we got, alright. So we got this thing on the front here. This might just be extra packaging. I should probably look on Google Maps to see where this is later, but that's not what the focus interest is. It's what's on the other side here. And I like how we put in all this plastic, although that does make it a little open. I just like seeing this stuff when it's nice and protected in shipping. Move the scissors out of the way. And I might just briefly show them here, but I want to film them a little differently. These are actually smaller than the things you usually see me buy. Alright. Does that fit all of these? I don't know. But let me just show you the front here, and I'll show you the little stuff inside, and I'll explain what it is. So I'm going to have to hold this by hand while filming, so we'll see if this works. But we got Palermo, Catacombs dei Cappuccini, the Capuchin Catacombs, 10 real photographs. And I guess it basically is like copyright in Italian. Let's see if we can see like a brand name on here somewhere. No, blank. Well, I think they don't really have to. So let's get into it. First up, we got this here. Got the men's corridor. Got the priests. The men's corridor again. We got the monks. We got the women's section. Looks like we got the men again. More of the men. Also got the cemetery. It's not really anything different looking. There's one stuck under here. Let me get that. More priests and the professionals. Now I got the pictures scanned in, so I'll review them from the scans here so you can see them a little bit better. First, here's the first scan I tried to do. I tried putting all of them in at once, but didn't exactly work, so I had to rescan some of them. First we got here is the corridor of men. As we can see, it's the bodies of male lady. The costumes here, it's most of the Franciscan habits, but there is a very rich diversity of outfits. You just can't really see them because they're covered here. More of that, you can kind of see the general pattern. Here are the priests. You can see they got the clerical robes on and their hats. Now a lot of the hats are missing now. Now here's a second scan. I should note these are older photos, so if you go to this location today, it's not really going to look like this. Here we got the monks, and as we can see, there's a lot of other stuff going on. Now, unfortunately, this place took some damage historically, so you're not going to see all this. Here are the professionals. It's basically just the male section again, but for like men with more fancier jobs like sculptors, lawyers, and artists and writers. Here's the section of men again. They used to photograph this area a lot. We can actually see these two mummies here actually have photographs, which is pretty interesting. Here's the women's section again. They also had some children in here too. They put the women on the shelves, put the children here in the middle. Here's the priests again. I'm not exactly sure why they took like two photos at two different periods of time, but they did. Here's the men again, since they like to take pictures of this place. And this is one of the bodies in this picture, the one that's behind the metal grate. That one is actually still at the same location today, and he's an interesting case. Oh, and also here's the cemetery again. I'll explain this in more detail later. So here's the location I'm referencing. Now it's underground, but you can actually see part of it on the other side of the road labeled Via Cipresi. It's actually that soccer field. Well, actually, it's called football in Europe. Field you're looking at is right next to it, and this is the Capuchin Catacombs, and it was built in the 1590s. And there's continued construction up until the year 1832, very recent. And the reason this place is so famous is because it's like 2,000 mummies in it. And these are not like ancient mummies where it's like, oh, this is some guy we don't know who we dug out of the sand. These are like modern people. Like a lot of these bodies still have like names, and these are people who lived very recently, which makes it very unusual. And also you can see the cemetery there, and in the middle is the church and the Capuchin monastery, because this is owned by the Capuchins, and this used to be a rural area when they first built it back in the 16th century. But as you can see, a lot of the suburbs have moved out here now, but it's still a little historical spot in the middle of all the modern construction and a pretty big tourist attraction. Now you might be wondering, Evan, what are you doing looking at all these mummies? I thought you were the banknote guy, and I am a banknote guy. But I think there's something about these mummies that's being ignored that needs to be discussed. And it's the fact that these mummies are so new, but no one is talking about who they are. You see, like I said earlier, the ordinary mummy, it's like you dug this body out of the sand, you might have found them in a bog somewhere. They're thousands of years old. Of course you don't know who they are. I mean, you get an idea of like what their life was, but you can't put a name to that. This is different. You can put a name to this. Now, a lot of the mummies, they aren't labeled anymore, but if we go through archival information, we can find a lot of information, and a lot of them still do have, the labels attached to them, and it's just going ignored. And I thought this was very strange, because it's like, this is such a historical site. Why aren't we preserving this information? So I decided to do something about it myself. So I was looking into the names just as something to look into, and I came across a document by a man named Lloyd Graham, and he found 46 names, and I was really impressed by this. And I thought, hey, why don't I expand on this? Because just looking through pictures on my own, I'd actually found some names that Lloyd Graham hadn't found, and I decided to, using Lloyd Graham's list as a base, create an expanded version. And I went from 46 names to 183 names. And There are publicly accessible records. The Capuchin monks have digitized them of the people who were placed in the catacombs. Now that includes people who were mummified and buried in like the floor and in like the tombs on the wall. Well, there are only a few tombs on the wall, and I found 47 names of mummified bodies that matched. I also found that a lot of the floor graves matched too as well, but those I've covered later on since we're focused more on the mummies here. And I uploaded this document a little while ago, but it hasn't been getting a lot of attention, so I just thought I should probably bring it up now, try and promote it a little bit here, because I really think this is some relevant information that's worthy of public discussion, especially relating to the catacombs. Now, I did mention there's one body in one of the images I wanted to give a little more attention to, and that man, his name is Antonino Prestigiacomo, and he died on the 4th of December 1844 at age 50, and his body is exceptionally well preserved. Now, Mr. Prestigiacomo was not a member of the upper class. He was actually, this highlighter is not working, a peasant. He was probably a farmer, and so the whole, I hope that didn't just mess up the audio. And the catacombs were usually associated with richer people, but it's actually a wide variety of social backgrounds, and there's a lot of people who are more ordinary like him, and he's very well preserved because his body was injected with arsenic and mercury. Now, you can't do this nowadays because it's now well known that arsenic and mercury are very poisonous, but this was a common technique back then used to preserve bodies because, well, people just didn't really know any better. And now his skin has a very reddish tint to it. And let me pull up a picture of what his body looks like now. You'll be able to recognize him. So this is what he looks like now. You can see the tint on his skin. You also notice that his outfit looks slightly different. That's because he was wearing a Franciscan habit. Now that Franciscan habit, he's not wearing it anymore, which is actually good because now we can see the traditional costume he's wearing, and it gives us an idea of how the peasants used to dress back then. Also, he still has the frame on his niche as well as the label, and he's the only person in this section to still have a framed niche, which is pretty interesting. Now, I previously uploaded this paper to another website, but it wasn't getting a lot of attention there, and I decided to re-upload it to this website, Scribd, because this is a more publicly accessible website, and I'll be linking the page to this down in the description so you can go download it, check it out. I really encourage you to do that. Well, that's all for today. I'm really glad this package came because I've wanted to introduce this topic on my channel for a while. I haven't really gotten the chance to, and this was the perfect way to do it. Please let me know what you're thinking down in the comments. If you find this interesting, I'd love to hear. Don't forget to like the video, like my videos if you like. Wait a minute, scratch that. Subscribe if you like my videos, or some of them, all of them, doesn't matter. And thanks for watching.